So, hello everyone. So our trainer for the today's class, Loka Sai Ishwar have joined the session. So from here on, he'll be taking the session. Thank you all.
Okay, yeah, so hi guys, I'm Ishwar and I'll be taking the demo session for you today. So a little bit about me, like I take classes here with Innomatics, like I'm a trainer here. Yeah, so that's it. And if we could just have a quick introduction for everyone. Can I know who is who and like what made you decide to join data science? Yes, so let's start with the first person, Ranjit.
Yes, sir. Ranjit.
Yeah, Ranjit. So can I get a quick introduction from you? Like, what do you
Myself,
do?
Ranjit. Yes, sir. Myself, Ranjit Wankade from
Okay, yeah.
PhD in Barkulgutullah is agriculture statistics, sir.
Okay, so you're doing statistics in agriculture.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, Ranjit. And what made you join data science?
Sir.
Yeah, Ranjit. So I want to know, like, what made you to decide that you want to go into data science?
Sir, working projects from.
Okay. Yeah. So you maybe came across some exciting projects or some applications of data science. So maybe that's why you want to learn data science, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Ranjit, for that. And okay, so the next person, Prithviraj, would you like to share your views?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi,
Hi,
Prithvi.
my name is Prithvi and I'm a student. And I was
Okay.
curious about the subject in particular because it is the in word right now. Data science is the in.
Okay.
Yeah, and I really was curious to know what it is all about. And
Uh, I'm sorry, Prithvi, your voice is not at all audible. It's too feeble. Can you please speak a little louder or maybe bring your speaker towards your mouth?
hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah, it's fine now.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a student and I've always known about data science because it's the in subject. I wanted to know what it is all about and what are the
Okay,
applications in the real world. How are we using
okay.
it in the real world? Yeah.
Yeah, so like data science is the in-demand field now, so you want to get into it, right?
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. I want to know what are the applications in the real world and how are we using it in real time.
Okay, yeah. So that's it. Yes, thank you, Prithvi. So next, who would like to go? Chandramohan? Uh, yes, let's just get to know each other quickly and so that we can start this session. Who would like to go next? Uh, yes, guys. So anyone?
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah,
You?
hi. My name is Ramakrishna Reddy. I'm from
Yeah.
Bangalore.
Okay.
I work to DXC technology in the storage backup technology.
Okay.
So the main intention to choose data science right now is,
Hmm.
uh, uh, one is I want to switch my technologies.
Okay.
As the demand to data and data scientists, data engineers is booming up, and there is a good,
Yes.
opportunity to
Hmm.
upscale myself as well. The
Yeah.
future opportunities will lie in that. So that's the
Hmm.
one reason I'm choosing this course.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That's. Thank you, Ramakrishna, for sharing your views. And yeah. So anyone else? So does anyone else wish to maybe say something about themselves or? Okay, so then let's just dive into the session. What according to you is data science? Yeah, so let's just start with it. Data science. So, what according to you guys is data science?
So data science is something which deals with the data,
Yes. Yeah,
which processes
exactly.
and analyzes the data and converts into the usable format by the various, you know, uh,
Methods and
uh, yeah,
different processes and all, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what is data science. So I can think of data science as an interdisciplinary field. So data science uh, can be uh, thought of as an interdisciplinary disciplinary field which encompasses, so the now we've said that it's an interdisciplinary field, right? So what are those? So which encompasses uh, knowledge of mathematics. So knowledge of mathematics in terms of be it statistics, be it linear algebra, be it calculus. So you have to be like, I won't say you have to be excellent in it, but you need to at least know some math to know or get a grasp of data science. So you should be proficient enough in statistics, in linear algebra, and also calculus. Yeah, so which encompasses knowledge of mathematics and computer science. Yeah, that's a given, right? So data science, it's a subfield of IT. So you should be familiar, or you should be looking at it through data science. And also, excuse me. Uh, yeah, sorry for that. Okay, and also, where were we? Yeah, so we were discussing that data science is an interdisciplinary field which encompasses knowledge of mathematics, computer science, and also the domain knowledge. Now, what do I mean by domain knowledge? So, do you think data science is restricted to a particular domain?
No, it's not.
It's not, right? Because
Yeah,
whatever domain you take, it has data. And
yeah,
wherever you have data, you can apply data science to it. And
yes.
what are the different domains? Like you have the healthcare domain, and it seems that Ranjit is he's a student studying agriculture. Yeah, so even agriculture is one domain. So finance, banking,
Yes, sir.
logistics. Yeah, so these are all the different domains you have. And so if you want to handle data in a particular domain, don't you think it's necessary that we know something about that domain? Yes, right? So
Yes,
only
yes,
if you
certainly.
have a knowledge of the domain, then you can do justice to the data which you collect. So only then will you be able to accurately collect the data and then analyze and interpret the data. Yeah, so we can think of data science as an interdisciplinary field. And so what does data science entail? So data science entails using various computer algorithms. Yeah, so algorithms are just a fancy word for code. So it entails using various computer algorithms, uh, statistical statistical models, and mm, different different processes to find ways to dig out hidden insights from both structured and unstructured, yeah, so unstructured data. Yeah, so we've seen what the definition of data science is, and so what exactly happens in data science. So data science entails using various processes, statistical models, and computer algorithms to find a way to dig out hidden insights from both structured and unstructured data. Uh, and just as Ramkrishna said, so we also use it to what is say analyze and interpret the results. Yeah. So the main purpose of it is to dig out patterns or hidden insights which are not apparent when we just look at the data. And so we do that from both structured as well as unstructured data. Do anyone of you know what structured data and unstructured data are? Yeah. So what do I mean by structured data and unstructured data?
Structured data means the data which is already organized in the databases
Yeah,
or
exactly.
in the form of ledgers or kind of anything.
Huh.
Unstructured data means the data which is shared, over the social media maybe.
Yeah,
Uh,
so in social media, yeah, that's the best example, Ramkrishna. So in social media, you will share it using text, right? Yeah, so you communicate using text. So text is an unstructured data, and you send emojis. Emojis are unstructured data, and you chat or like you communicate through videos. So videos are unstructured data. You voice chat with someone. So audio is an unstructured data. So these are all unstructured data. Yes, exactly. That's the perfect analogy for that. Thank you, Ramakrishna. Yeah, so that's it. So data science is nothing but you're using different tools and techniques to what do you say, make sense of the data. And that's it. And do you think data science is a new field?
so it's not a new field exactly, but
Yeah.
there is data science from the ancient days. But
Yes. So
the only
it's
the
it's
difference
been
is now the human just data has grown up, and
exactly.
organizing the data, analyzing the data, and make use of the data is becoming more challenging to the world.
Yes, exactly, Ramakrishna. So, data science as a field is not new. It's been since the 60s and 70s, so 1960s and 70s. And the reason we are hearing the word data science more is now we are in the digital age, right? And with the digital age, there came an explosion of data. Okay, so Muskan, okay, structured data. So structured data is nothing but the data which is properly organized, Muskan. So you can say that data which is in the form of tables. Like if you have looked at an Excel sheet, so whenever you look at data in an Excel sheet, so that is a structured data. So structured data is nothing but data which is organized, where you can make sense of the data. So when like one more example would be if you look at a database. So in database you have a data organized properly, right? So you have different schemas. So you are constructing the database based on schema, and you are constructing it based on columns and rows, right? Yeah. So the data which is organized in rows and columns, like if you have looked at an Excel sheet, so that is the best example of structured data. Uh,
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, sure, Muskan. And I hope that solved your doubt, right?
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah, okay. So we were discussing that data science. So data science as a field isn't new. It's been since the 70s, 60s, and 70s. And the reason it's like we are hearing more about the word is because of the explosion of data. And now we are in the digital age, and with digital age came a huge amount of data, and companies are struggling to store the data, handle the data, and make sense of the data. And so that's the reason why the field data science and big data, so they are becoming very important nowadays. So there are two main reasons as to why data science is what do you say, a back to track, or which is the in demand field. So let's just write it that. So data science as a field isn't new, but the reason we are hearing But the reason we're hearing more about it is because of the availability of huge amounts of data, and so due to the reason that we have systems and computers powerful enough to store uh, the data and compute it. Yeah. So the two main reasons. Okay. 1 minute, guys. Do you see something marked over on the screen?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I guess it must be something stray. Okay. Yeah. Now the main reason we are hearing more about data science now is because of the availability of huge amount of data. And so just having huge amount of data doesn't do it, right? So we need to be able to make sense of it. And the other reason we are hearing more about data science is we have computers powerful enough to run millions and millions of simulations. So we have computers which are computationally powerful enough to handle TBs and PBs of data. So to handle gigabytes and terabytes of data. So that's the other very important reason. So we are able to handle data science. Let's take an example, like just 10 to 15 years back, when you say big data or huge data, so that just meant having a data set which had 5 lakh rows. So 10 years back, when you say that you are dealing with huge data, then you meant that you are dealing with a data frame or an Excel sheet which had 5 lakh rows. But now you consider a data set with 5 lakh rows as very small data. So when you talk about big data now, you have millions and millions of rows. Yeah. So that's how the data has exploded, and we also now have powerful systems to handle that. Yeah. So that's that. And do you have any more doubts in this and whatever we discussed until now?
No doubt.
Okay, yeah. So then let's just look at the different components which we'll be covering as part of the course. And I'll tell you like where does each component fit in the grand scheme of data science. And also we'll look at what to say, if there are some terms which needs to be explaining, we'll also look at that. So the components or modules. So modules to be dealt with. So the modules we'll be dealing with are, so we'll be looking at a programming language, which will be Python. So we'll be looking at Python, and we'll also be looking at statistics, and then we have machine learning, and we have something called as natural language processing. Okay, so natural language processing, and last but not the least, we have deep learning. Yeah, so these are the modules which we'll be looking at. And before
Excuse me, your screen is not changing anything. Are you typing something?
yeah, I am typing something. Okay, you're not able to see anything.
No, the whole previous thing only I can see. Okay, now I can see. I moved it.
Okay,
Sorry.
now you can see it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so is that the case with everyone? Like, can everyone look at the screen?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay then. Sure. These are the modules which we are going to be dealing with as part of the course. And before going into modules, let's just get some terminology out of our way. I guess you guys should have heard about artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning, right? So have you heard about these terms? Artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning?
No, sir.
Yes, Ranjit.
No, sir, no. Artificial.
I'm sorry, Ranjit, your voice is not properly audible. Can you please repeat it again?
No, sir.
Okay, no. Okay, yeah. So what about the others? So have you heard these terms? These have been
Yeah.
quite the buzzwords, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Yes,
artificial
yes.
intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. And I think you might have, excuse me, and I guess you might even have heard them being used interchangeably, meaning that they are being used as the same term. But in fact, like all these terms are not the same. They are quite different from each other actually. So we'll see what each of the term means. Yeah, so starting with artificial intelligence. Yeah, so we can say, 1 minute. Yeah, so it's almost like debunking the myth that all the three terms are same. So let's look at what artificial intelligence is first. Or else I wish to like write this in the left side of the screen. So have you all written everything on the left side of the screen? So can I erase that portion?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, it's fine, right? Okay. So I'll be erasing the left side now. Yeah. So let's talk about each of the term individually. So what artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning mean? So artificial intelligence. We can think of artificial intelligence as a thought. Yeah, so artificial intelligence is a thought or a principle that it aims to make systems or machines intelligent enough as a human. Now, how do you define a human intelligence as? So humans have something called as cognition. Yeah, so do any one of you guys know what cognition is? So cognition means the ability to recognize oneself, right? Yeah, so the ability to be self-aware, the ability to recognize oneself, the ability to learn something new. Like if you see something new today, and if you are able to recollect or remember what you have learned about the other day, yesterday, or 10 days back. So that is what cognition is. And that's the thing which is unique to humans. So we are self-aware. So we are able to remember things and all. And so the main goal of artificial intelligence is to make machines cognitive. So cognitive meaning that the machines to be able to understand just as a human does. It should be able to look at an image and it should be able to tell what that image is, and it should listen to audio and understand what is being said. Yeah, so essentially we are putting human intelligence into a machine. So that's what is the principle of artificial intelligence. So let's just write it. So artificial intelligence is a thought, is a thought uh, or principle which aims to give human intelligence to machines. And so the uh, ability which is okay, so human intelligence to machines. Now, how do you categorize human intelligence as? So we say that we are cognitive, right? Yeah, so in other words, the machine has to be cognitive. And what do you mean by cognitive? So being self-aware, uh, able to make memories, and the ability to remember, so remember the memories and all. So that's what being cognitive means. And so the machine has to be cognitive, and so the system has to be able to think like a human, understand like a human, and uh, perceive just like a human. Yeah, so that's what artificial intelligence is. So this is the principle of artificial intelligence: to impart cognition to machines, to your computer algorithms. Yeah, so it's a thought, it's a dream, if you say. Now, do you think dreams are sufficient? All right. If you just dream or think about it, you won't get it in action. Yeah. So the next important part is, so just as how dreaming is important, it's also important for us to implement it. So the actionable part for the actionable part for artificial intelligence is machine learning. So machine learning provides us with various tools and techniques in order to implement the goal of artificial intelligence. So machine learning helps us in creating the intelligent machines. Yeah, so let's write that. Machine learning. So machine learning is the actionable part of artificial intelligence. Yeah, we'll just abbreviate it to AI. Yeah, so machine learning is the actionable part of AI. So it provides us with various tools and techniques. It is tools and techniques with which we can build an intelligent systems. And what are the tools and techniques? So just as we looked at the computer algorithms and knowledge about mathematics, right? Yeah, so those are the tools and techniques which machine learning provides us with. So machine learning makes use of mathematics in the form of statistics, calculus, linear algebra, and also computer algorithm. So it puts the mathematical principles in the form of a computer algorithm, and it gives it to us so that we can build an intelligent system. Yeah, so that's what the gist of machine learning is. And then comes deep learning. Yeah, so deep learning. Deep learning is essentially a subset of machine learning, where deep learning algorithms are a special case of machine learning, wherein the working of deep learning algorithms is based on the functioning of the human brain. Yeah, so I guess everyone knows that a human brain has cells called as neurons, right? And we have, I guess, 80 billion neurons. Yeah, so there are many neurons. And how do these neurons communicate with each other? So if you have to understand anything, there has to be communication happening in between the neurons, right? In between the neurons and amongst the neurons. So how do you think the neurons communicate with each other? Yes.
Through signaling,
Yeah, through signaling. So they communicate with each other through electrical impulses, right?
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so one neuron, it not just transmits the electrical impulse to just one other neuron, but it transmits the signal to thousands of neurons which are in its vicinity. And so you can think of that as sort of a mesh, as a network, right? So we can think of neurons as being in a network. And so that's how deep learning is too. So deep learning maps the functioning of a human brain, wherein the communication happens between many nodes, which are arranged in a mesh or a network pattern. Yeah, so let's just write what it is. So deep learning is a subset of machine learning, wherein the deep learning algorithms, the deep learning algorithms map the functioning of the human brain. Yeah, so it's based on the fact that uh, communication happens between and among various nodes in a network pattern. Yeah, so it assumes the principle that the communication happens between and among various nodes in a network. So in a mesh pattern, in a network pattern. Excuse me. Yeah. Okay, so that's what the difference between machine learning, artificial intelligence, and deep learning is. Please just go through it and ask me of any doubts you have. Yes, guys. So I'll just go through the definitions of it, and let me know if you have any doubts in regarding that. So were you able to understand it on a high level, at least, what what each term means and what's the difference between them?
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
right.
Yes.
Yeah. So shall we proceed to the next stage then?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just look at the various modules which we'll be dealing with, and I guess the course which is being offered is for 45 days, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So the course is for 45 days, and during this course duration, we'll be looking at these 5 modules. So Python, statistics, machine learning, NLP. Yeah, we also call it as NLP. So natural language processing or NLP, and deep learning. Deep learning we also call it as DL. Okay. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
right? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, sure then. Okay, so now let's look at what each module covers and why is it important. So starting with the Python. Let's say I have one thought and I need to communicate it with you guys, like just as how I'm doing now. So I have some information which I have. So I know something about data science and I need to communicate that information which I have to you guys. So how am I communicating it to you?
Through a language.
Yeah, through a medium, right? And the medium I'm using is the language. Yes, so I'm using the English language to convey my thoughts to you guys, so that I'm using a common language which we both understand. So I'm using a common medium which both parties are comfortable with to transfer the information. Yeah, and that's what Python does. So you want your machine or computer to do some task. So how do you make it do it? So you need to communicate with it, right? Yeah, you need to communicate with it in a language in which it understands. And the language which we'll be using is Python. Yeah, so Python is the programming language which we'll be learning in order to proceed with data science. And now your question might be that is Python the only language through which we can do data science?
No, sir. R.
No, right?
No, sir.
Yeah,
R.
R. Yes. So there's also
Believable SSS.
yes,
Statistical.
Ranj. Yeah, essays. Yeah, essays is also there. And I guess since you are a statistics student, I guess you must be familiar with that, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly. So now Python isn't the only programming language which we have with which we can do data science. So there are many other programming languages too, like R and SAS. And the reason we are using Python specifically is because of the support it has. So Python has many modules, libraries, and packages which help us to deal with data science. So they help us to handle huge amount of data. They help us in extracting insights from data, so to extract various features from it. And it also helps us in cleaning the data, and it also helps us in what do you say in building the model and building a computer algorithm. And last but not the least, it also helps us in deploying the model. Yeah, so it's almost like if you use Python, so you can go from the beginning and ending of a data science project.
What do you mean by deploying the model?
Yes, Muskan. So we will also be looking at the various stages of the data science life cycle project. So we look at the life cycle of a data science project. So in that, I'll explain it to you what each step is.
Okay.
Yeah. So deploying is nothing but now you have your smartphones, right?
Yeah,
And which I guess some smartphones come with a face scanner.
correct.
Yeah. So, do you think facial recognition is an application of data science?
Yeah,
Yeah, it is an application of data science, right?
yes,
And someone might have built that application.
correct.
Yeah. And now, how are you able to use the application which someone else built? So you are using it through an app, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that is what deployment is. So deployment is making our what is a machine learning or data science model available to the client or the stakeholder so that they can use it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's the deployment. And deployment is how we usually look at it. Like we either deploy it through web, like as a web application, or as a mobile application. So these are the most popular ways of deploying a model.
Okay, basically making it accessible.
Exactly. So making it
Okay.
accessible to everyone, like the client or the stakeholder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure, Muskan. And so we were discussing about the modules in Python, right? So there are actually many modules which help us. Now, we talked about the structured data, right? Yeah, so the module which helps us in dealing with structured data in Python is called as pandas. So let's just list down the various modules Uh, I would like to continue with on the left side of the screen. So can I erase it?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
I'm erasing the left side. Um, yeah, so just a minute. Yeah. Uh, yeah, so we were saying that Python has various modules which will help us to do data science, right? So let's list down the modules. So modules, and this is not an exhaustive list of all the modules. I'm just listing the modules on the top of my head. These are just a few. There are many more. So modules in Python. So there's a module called as pandas. So which helps us. So this module helps us to handle and manipulate structured data. Yeah, so we were talking about structured data, right? Earlier. Yeah, so how do we handle structured data? So that is done by the module pandas. And we also have one more module called as NumPy. So this NumPy module, so this module helps us to transform numerical data. Yeah, so data transformation. So field what field of mathematics does transformations, numerical transformations? Anyone has any idea? So we talked about what do you say, statistics, linear algebra, and calculus, right? Yeah, so these three subfields of mathematics. So one of them involves in transforming data. So can you guess which one? Yeah, it's linear algebra. Do you remember linear algebra? Like we have matrices, right? Matrix. So we used to do that, and I guess intermediate math and also in engineering mathematics. So we had linear algebra, right? Using matrices to represent data, so to represent numbers, so to transform data and all. Mm, yeah,
Yes.
do you remember that?
Yes, yes. When we
Vaguely.
learn even see these languages also,
Okay.
this matrix variables,
Huh.
kind of.
Yeah. And it's easier for us to think of data as a matrix, right?
Yeah.
Like the calculations, they become much more easier if we transform the data and handle it as matrices, right?
It consists of rows and columns, and
Yeah, exactly. And like matrix has rows and columns, but it's not just confined to rows and columns, right? It can be
yeah, yes, true.
multidimensional too.
Yes, yes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So you can even deal with a structured data which is multidimensional also. So for everything, we'll use like if you want to transform data, then NumPy is the module to go to. And we also have something called as matplotlib. So matplotlib. So this module helps us to visualize data. Yeah, so this is a very important module. So it helps us to visualize the data. And do you think visual cues are much more important than written text in understanding or analyzing the data?
Yes.
Yes, right. So if you have text and if you have a pictograph or an infograph, so which do you think you will register fast?
Pictograph.
Yeah. So the information goes through fast if it's in an infographic, right? Rather than through the text. Yeah, so using visual cues to represent the data is also very important. And the module which helps us to visualize data is Matplotlib. Yeah, so this is the basic module. So we will be using Matplotlib frequently and in many areas. Yeah, through graphs, exactly, Monica. So we'll be using various kinds of graphs, and graphs are also, there are many kinds of graphs, right? Like we have histograms, we have bar graphs, pie charts, scatter plots, line graphs. So like there are many kinds which you will be learning them shortly, and it's very interesting and very exciting, like to represent data visually, graphically. Yes. And also, yeah, so these are the modules which are used to handle or understand data. And there are also machine learning packages. Uh, yeah, guys. Okay. Are anyone of you able to draw something on my screen? No, right? You don't have the access for it. Okay, yeah, just ignore it. Okay, now these are the modules which help us in understanding and cleaning the data. And we also have something called as sklearn. So sklearn, the full form of sklearn is Scikit-Learn. Scikit-Learn, and this is a very important module which helps build machine learning algorithms, machine learning models. So this module has many tools and techniques with which we can build machine learning algorithms. Yes, someone has any doubt? Yeah, so sklearn, so Scikit-Learn is there. Yeah, there is also something called as TensorFlow. I guess you guys should have heard about it, right? TensorFlow.
No.
Yeah. So TensorFlow is the module which helps us in building deep learning models. So this module helps us to build uh, deep learning models and so on. So there are many more algorithms. So if we keep on writing, it will take us at least 2 hours to just go through it. Yeah, so it is vast. And so these are just some of the examples as to why Python is the best used language or the most frequently used language in data science applications. And also, like, one more advantage Python has over let's say our programming language is that the models in Python are scalable. So meaning that even if you have huge amount of data, so Python handles it considerably well. While R, with R, you can't actually build machine learning models. So your R can't handle GBs and TBs of data. So for that, you will have to go for Python. If you have just say, let's say small data or even medium data, so R is comparable to Python. But when your data increases, when you want to scale your project, so that's when R struggles. So for that, we will be going with Python.
I have a doubt. In
Yeah,
the modules of
yes,
Python,
Muskan. Yes,
it's written NumPy. This module helps us to transform numerical data.
yes.
So, transform the data to what?
Transform the data means like, are you familiar with linear algebra, Muskan? Like
Yeah.
matrices and arrays, right?
No,
Yeah. So
matrices, I know arrays.
arrays are nothing but matrices which are just one dimensional. So
Okay.
there are no, like, generally when we talk about matrices, they are two dimensional, right? It
Yeah,
has rows and columns. So
correct.
arrays are nothing but like structures which are 1D, while matrices are 2D.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're just trying to represent your data in the form of arrays and matrices, so that like we discussed earlier, right? Like the computations, they become easier and fast when you represent your data as matrices and arrays, right?
Okay.
Yeah, like I guess you should have solved some linear equations using matrices,
Yeah.
ax equal to b or xp equal to y, something like that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have a set of linear equations, and you are representing that in the form of arrays or matrices, and then solving for different x's, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so that is much easier than solving them using algebra, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so linear algebra. So using linear algebra, you can solve it faster and take less computation time rather than using solving it with normal algebra.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what we do in NumPy. So
Okay.
we just try to represent our data in the form of matrices and all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Lokesh.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
uh,
This is
Actually, we use
Rajshekar. Okay.
Rajshekar.
Yeah.
Only we use two-dimensional things
No,
or
no, no.
three-dimensional system.
No, you can use any dimensional things, Rajshekar. And the best example of using three-dimensional matrices is through images. Yeah. So when I say an image, so image is a collection of pixels, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so pixels are nothing but numbers. So they are just numerical values. And when I talk about an image, so every image, every color image or every color is a combination of the three primary colors, which are red, green, and blue, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and what do you say? The proportions and intensities of these colors, this will result you in different colors. Like you get green, you get orange, you get yellow, you get pink. So all these colors, you get it just by altering the proportions and intensities of your R, G, and B.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so your image, you can consider your image, your color image, to be made of three layers. So one is the red layer, one is the green layer, and the other is the blue layer. So you're just overlapping all the three layers to get a color image. Yeah, so
Okay.
and every layer is 2D. So it has a length and it has some breadth. And when you also factor in the layers, then you're adding depth to it. So you're adding one more dimension. So that is like a 3D. So if you talk about a color image, you have the length, the breadth, and also the depth. And depth in the sense that we are talking about the red, green, and blue, the RGB layers. Yeah. So the depth in a color image is usually 3.
Okay. And can you
Yes.
give me an example of SQL learns? Any example in that?
SQL means like you will have to what do you say, know about the machine learning that she could able to correlate with whatever we see. But yeah, like we'll also discuss what machine learning has, and in that I'll give you an example of where Scikit-Learn helps us in machine learning.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so yeah, so these are the different modules, and Python is done, and statistics. So before proceeding further, let's take a use case where, mm, so let's take a use case where I want to find the price of a house. So the use case is finding the price of a house. So in this, we have to look at two terms, the target variable and the independent variables. The target variable is also called as the dependent variable.
Yes, sir.
The dependent variable, yeah. So the target variable is nothing but the variable or feature which we are interested in finding. So in the use case which we assumed, what do you think is the target variable?
Price of the house.
Yeah, the price. So price of the house would be the target variable. And now see me some features on which the price of the house is dependent upon.
The locality, the land.
Yeah, so the location and the area, right? Area in square feet or square meters of the house, the area, and
Availability of facilities, sir.
yeah, facilities, exactly. So facilities and I'm sorry, did someone say something? Okay, it also has like what are the number of bedrooms
Yes.
or the number of bathrooms, and is there a lift? So is there a lift or not, and so on, right? So if we keep on listing, so there are many factors which the price of the house is dependent upon. So in this particular use case, so the price of the house is the target of the dependent variable, and the independent variables are, so the reason we call them independent variables is the location is not being dependent upon the price, right? But rather it's the other way. So price is being dependent on location. So that's why we call it as an independent variable. And what are the independent variables which I can have? So I can have location, area, the facilities, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, and is there a lift or not, and so on. Now, my question is, uh, do you think all the factors contribute equally to the price of the house?
No.
No.
No, right? So not all features are equally important. Now, how do you determine yeah, so not all features are equally important. Now, since we actually know about this use case, so what features out of these do you think contribute the most to the price?
The area, the location.
Yeah, so area and the location are the two most determining factors, right, of the price of the house. Now, since we actually know it, we are determining that those two are important. Well, let's say if you have any other data set. So in that, how do you determine whether a particular feature is important or not? And there might be some features which don't contribute anything at all. Now, how do I remove them and how do I take in only the important features? Yeah, so that is done using statistics. So whenever I say that a variable is importance, I'm talking about the statistical importance. So statistical importance means, so we'll be applying some statistical tests on the features to determine whether that particular feature is really influencing my target or not. No, you can't just look at a data set and pick out the feature which you like, right? That's not the sane way or the scientific way to pick out features. So when you're trying to find which features are important, there needs to be some scientific background to it. And that scientific background is provided by statistics. So
Yes.
whenever I talk about important features, I'm talking about the statistical importance. And don't worry, you'll be learning about it, like how do you determine if a feature is statistically important or not. You'll be learning various statistical tests, so statistical testing, so to determine which feature is important and which feature is not.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah, yes, Rajshekar or
No, it was.
Prithvi? Yeah, yes.
So the importance may vary person to person.
Uh, I'm sorry, Prithvi, can you please be a little loud?
Yeah.
And guys, like, I would request only the person who is speaking to, what do you say, unmute your recording, like, because I get some disturbances in the background. Yeah, so only the person who is speaking, please unmute and then talk. Yeah, Ranjit, it's actually from your side. So can you please mute over at your end?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Ranjit. Okay, Prithvi, you were saying something. Can you please be a little loud? Your voice is not that audible.
Yeah, now can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's
Yeah.
fine.
So my doubt is that the facilities, the importance of each thing depends on person to person. So
No, it doesn't. Yeah, that's why, right? If you just pick out a feature based on your conviction, or whether you feel it as important or not, I might pick some features and you might pick some other features.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Prithvi. Yeah. Sorry, interrupted. Please go on. What do you want to
So
say?
yeah, I wanted to say, like, yeah, for example, you may pick out some other features that you
Mhm.
like, and I might
Yes.
pick out something else.
Mm.
So in statistics, does that include as well? Like,
No, no. Statistics doesn't include that at all. Yeah, that's why we said, right, like, whenever we talk about the importance of a feature in statistics, we are talking about the statistical importance. It's not what do you say,
individual.
yeah, it's not based on the person. So if I pick out, like, I'll be basing it on my judgment and my conviction, right? So
Correct.
I might feel that some features might be important while the others are not, and you might feel the feature which I feel important, you might feel that as not important.
Hmm.
Yeah, so in order to avoid all this, so in order to eliminate the human factor, so, and whenever you're doing something, there needs to be some scientific background to it, right?
Correct.
Now let's say, let's go back to physics. Now if you're trying to find the gravitational force between two bodies which have mass, so if I find the mass, I'll get some value, and you find the force. I find the force as some value x1, and you find the value as x2. Do you think x1 and x2 are same or different?
Uh, Based on the formula, then probably
uh,
it would be the same because G value differs. If you use different G values, then I will
no,
have.
no, no, not the same like, we are considering the same two bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and which are
Correct.
located at the same distance. So I'm using the same distance, you're using the same distance, and I find the force to be some x1, you find the force to be some x2. Now, do you think x1 and x2 are same or not?
Yeah. Yeah.
They are same, right?
Yeah.
And why are the same? You're
Because
using the same.
there's some scientific relevance to it.
Yeah, there's some scientific relevance to it. So you're using the same principle, and I'm using the same principle.
True.
Yeah, so when there is some scientific background to it, so like, whoever does it, the end result would be the same, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's very important. So that's why we use statistics in order to factor in the scientific relevance and all.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure, Prithvi. Yeah, so that's why we use statistics. And going to machine learning, now I can think of machine learning algorithm as, so let's just write what machine learning algorithms are. So machine learning algorithms can be thought of as mathematical functions which map the independent variables to, independent variables to the dependent variable. Like if I say y equal to f of x, so in this particular scenario, y is my target variable or my dependent variable, x are my independent features or independent variables, and the term f, which is the mathematical function, now that is the machine learning algorithm. So what machine learning algorithm does is, it will map your independent variables to the dependent variable, and with which it helps us, it learns based on the pattern. So So it identifies the pattern which is present in the data by mapping the independent variables to the dependent variable, and it learn the pattern. And when in future, when you give some independent variables based on the pattern it has learned, it will give you the target. So let's say you have data where you are feeding some data to the machine learning algorithm where it learned that in Banjara Hills, if the house has an area 1800 square feet, the price of the house would be, I guess, 4 crores. I'm, I'm just giving you an example. That's just not how it is. And let's say if the house is present in Chikkarpalli, and if it has an area 2000 square feet, the price is somewhere around 1.6 crores. And so it has learned some pattern from this data. And when you ask it that, can you tell me the price of the house which is located in, let's say, Shamshabad, and which has an area 1500 square feet, what do you think the price would be? And based on the pattern it has learned, I guess your model might say that it's around 1 crore. Yeah, so the reason it's able to give you the answer is, so it has learned based on the pattern. And how has it learned? So it mapped the independent variables to the dependent variable. So a machine learning algorithm is nothing but a mathematical function. So it's a mathematical function which is going to map your dependent variable to the independent variables. Yeah, so if you have to explain machine learning in layman's terms, so this is the best example. And as you go through, you will learn that machine learning is not this, much more than that. And it's very interesting too. Yeah, so that's what is machine learning. And so earlier someone asked for some example. Was it Rajshekhar?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so now we are talking about the F, right, Rajshekhar, the machine learning algorithm.
Okay.
Yeah, so in Scikit-Learn, you don't have to build the machine learning algorithm from scratch. So we have some starter code which helps you in starting, like what do you say, which helps you in building the algorithm. So it gives you a head start, and that starter code for the machine learning algorithm is provided by Scikit-Learn. So it's provided by the module Scikit-Learn. And if I have to list some machine learning algorithms which are there, so I can say linear regression is a kind of machine learning algorithm. So you have something called as KNN. So KNN, K nearest neighbor, that's a machine learning algorithm, SVM, and so on. So there are many machine learning algorithms. And what you do, if you have to build that from scratch, it'll take you weeks or even months. So instead of doing all that, Scikit-Learn or sklearn provides you with the starter code. And to that starter code, you can feed your data, or you can even improve your machine learning or the mathematical function so that you get the an algorithm which provides you with the best result. Yeah, so one of the application of Scikit-Learn or sklearn is it provides you with the starter code for various machine learning algorithms. Yeah, so did that at least help a little in understanding what sklearn does, Rajshekhar?
So it's a kind of ready-made apps which are already available, to use
Yeah.
rather
Yes,
developing
Ram.
from the scratch.
Yes, Ramkrishna. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
think of it like that. Yeah. So rather developing it from the scratch, so you have some starter code, like you have something built upon, and to that you can make some changes. So you can tweak it a little to get the result you want.
You can easily assemble the required thing,
Yeah, exactly. You can easily assemble it. So yeah, like we use sklearn mostly for ease of use. Yes, so that's what machine learning is. And deep learning is similar to machine learning. So instead of using mathematical functions which are based on statistics, and the machine learning algorithms which we are seeing now, these all these algorithms are based on statistic. So they are based on statistics as the scientific principle, while deep learning algorithms, so they are based on calculus as the scientific principle. So you will be using calculus and linear algebra a lot in deep learning, and in machine learning, you will be using statistics a lot. Yeah, so that's why we discussed in the beginning, right? Like you also need to have mathematical acumen. So you need to be not excellent at least, but be proficient in maths too. And then we have natural language processing. So natural language processing. So it deals with handling, what do you say, text. So it deals with handling text. And what do you think? Is text a structured data or an unstructured data?
Unstructured data.
Yeah, it's an unstructured data, right? And when I'm talking about the mathematical functions or my machine learning algorithms, they cannot understand unstructured data. So if the data is in an unstructured format, my machine learning algorithms or mathematical functions can't understand them and handle them. So what natural language processing provides us is, so it provides us with various tools and techniques to handle human language and convert the unstructured text into a structured format, which can be understood by our machine learning algorithms. So natural language processing, NLP, helps, NLP provides us with tools to convert human language, which is an unstructured data, into structured format. And why is it important for us to convert it into a structured format? Because our machine learning algorithms cannot understand unstructured data. So you're converting that into structured data by using some tools and techniques which are provided in NLP. And once you get it into a structured format, you will use the same machine learning or deep learning algorithms to proceed. So the only hindrance we have here is we are having an unstructured data. So we need to convert that into structured data and then process it. And can you guys think about some application for NLP? So NLP is used in real life, and I am sure you guys might have encountered it. So have you ever chatted with the customer service? The customer service for
Yeah.
any one? Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
Monica. So exactly. So Monica says that chatbot is an example of NLP. Yes. So that's what I was trying to say, Monica. Thank you. So that's the best example of the application of natural language processing. So can you tell me what a chatbot does, Monica? Or as a matter of fact, anyone?
It takes in requests of the users and gives out an output.
Yeah. So it takes in the request from the user and it will give you some answer, right? Yeah. Now, how does that understand what you are saying? Yeah. So that is done using NLP. So you are giving some text, which is human language, and your the system, which is on the other side, it's able to understand what you are giving, and it's able to respond back to you. So that is done using NLP. Yeah, so chatbots are an application for NLP. And just as we talked, so even the facial recognition systems. So the facial recognition systems are also an application of data science. So you have many applications for data science, and there also uh, one new application has been there in data science. Did you read the news that the Indian government has launched an app called Arogya Setu. I think it's Arogya Setu, right? Yeah, so an app was launched called as Arogya Setu, which the government has launched. So, do anyone have an idea on what it is? So, did you read it in the news? What Arogya Setu does? Yeah, so you can use that app to determine if you are in a, what do you say, whether you are at risk of being infected with COVID, right? Yeah, so the app, what it does is, so based on the data sent to it, from people who have the symptoms of the disease, so it will warn you if you have come in close proximity with a person who has the disease, or if you are in one of the hotspots for the infection, and it will alert you to go and get tested. So how is this getting done? So that app, it collects data, so from people who have infection in particular areas, and based on that, if you happen to go into that area, it will warn you saying that you are in a hotspot, and if you have come in contact with any person, so it's best to get tested. Yeah, so that is one more best example of using data science in an adverse situation like this. So yeah, so that is one more application of data science. And yeah, so there are many applications really, like if you have data, then you can apply data science to it. So that's the main thing. And data is there in many fields, so you can consider data science to be domain independent. So whatever domain you have, you give, if that domain has data, then you can handle the data and analyze and interpret the data. That's it. Yeah guys, so that's it with the session. So I guess you guys got at least some overview or some idea of what data science is and what we cover here, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you have any more questions regarding it?
Do you share some material kind of thing? How is this?
Material for what, Ramkrishna? Like
This course,
regarding the course, yeah,
yeah.
we do share the material, Ramkrishna, and the way we do is like we do it more in a practical way. So
Yeah, okay.
it'll be like what do you say? We will be having an interactive session where not just the person who is teaching speaks. So it'll be like an interaction session, and we the coding also, like it happens then and there. So like as we code, even you will be attempting it, and if you have any doubts, so you will solve it then and there. And at the end of the day, if you have opted for the online mode, the videos for the classes, they get uploaded, so you will be able to have that as a reference material, and we'll also be uploading the coding files and some reference files we have, and we'll also be giving you some assignments to work on, and so on. Yeah, so to answer you, we do provide you with various materials and all, materials and notes, everything.
So I think we should have a laptop in order to practice.
Yes, Ramkrishna, yeah, that's there.
Okay.
You should have what do you say, laptop. That's necessary.
Okay. So
Do you
approximately
have
how much is the duration in each day, the session duration?
the sessions are usually for 1.5 or 2 hours, Ramkrishna. And since
Okay.
yours is a 45-day course, I think the duration would be for 2 hours or 2.5. Like, even I'm not that sure about the duration. I think it's better if you contact with the
Okay.
salesperson.
Yeah, sure, sure.
So I guess they'll be able to give you much more information regarding that.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. And okay, I
Hello.
one more question.
Hello.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
Suresh.
this is Suri.
Yeah.
How many years of experience you have in data science?
How many years of experience?
You have worked on this technology.
I uh I don't think that's an appropriate question, but yeah, I'm not comfortable answering that. But other than that, do you have any specific reason for asking that?
No, no, just I am asking because based on
Mhm. Based on
means the way you means which you are going to explain, whether you are going to explain in application level or theoretical.
no, no, Suresh. Like, it's going to be like it'll involve both theory and practical, and the trainer is someone else. Like, I took the demo session. Like, you will be given one more faculty. Like, he's an experienced faculty, so yeah, you will be having them.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, Suresh. So, was that your question?
No, you are not going to continue along with this
No,
class, right?
it depends, Suresh. So, what it is since we are dealing with multiple modules, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you see, we have 5 modules, and so the faculty is not fixed to like depending on the module. So one faculty is strong in one area, and the other is strong in the other area. So we try to use the best resources to provide you with the trainer, which is like who is best in that particular module. So it's not that only one trainer will take it. Yeah, so whoever is good in explaining that particular topic, so they'll be taking the classes.
Okay.
Yeah.
End of this project, can you provide any projects or just like you are going to complete only concepts?
Yeah, we will be providing projects, Suresh. And regarding the number of projects, I think we'll be providing something around 5 or 6 capstone projects throughout the whole course. And you will be having assignments and use cases, right? Yeah, so the capstone projects, they are like the big projects or the major projects if you think about them. So the big projects would be 5, one for each module, and in each module also covers various use cases which are not as big as capstones, but in order to understand the concept more, so if you work through the use cases, then you will be able to complete the capstone successfully. And
Okay.
this all information, like I think it will be shared to you, like what use cases and what capstones are going to be covered by the salespersons. Like they will be sharing you the what is it, the syllabus and the curriculum. So in that you can go through it and you can understand like what will be covered at what level.
Okay, but one question. As you
Yeah.
said, you have data science means only storing the data, huge number data.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Data science
When you
is.
started class, as you
Mhm.
said, only data science, nothing but only saving the
No, no, I
huge,
didn't see that
numerous,
only that.
enormous data.
Yes.
Yeah, there is other technologies also there, right? Like big data, other.
Yeah. What I meant was like data science is like handling data from end to end. So from the moment you gather data, so from the way you store the data, you use the data, you interpret and analyze the data, you make a machine learning model out of it, and until the stage where you deploy it. So all this comes under data science.
Okay, what is the deployment technologies which we are going to use in this course? If it is so.
This course though, we won't be covering the deployment part, uh, Suresh.
Okay, normally which tools you will use for deployment?
For deployment though, we'll be using Django. So have
Okay,
you heard of it?
yeah, and is it work like deployment like DevOps?
DevOps?
Yeah,
Not exactly. Uh, Actually, I'm not
not
that familiar
exactly.
with what
Means you
you do
miss
in
you have
DevOps,
no
so I can't
idea.
give you an answer on that. But deployment is nothing but like just as we discussed earlier. So Muskan was saying, right? Like
Yeah, that
deployment
I
is
know.
nothing but making
Deployment
the
is
application
nothing but
accessible to everyone.
I know that one. I am
Okay.
asking
And what was the
tools or
question?
technologies. Deployment, data science deployment.
Mm-hmm.
Whether which tools you are using for
Yeah,
deployment?
the tool we'll use is Django. Like that's the most frequently used tool to deploy the model.
Only one tool is there in
No,
market,
I
or
said that's the most frequently used, so that's not the only tool we have. So you also have Flask and all, but yeah, the most frequently used one is Django, because Django involves Python, right? Since you are already learning Python, so why go for any other tool? So Django uses Python, so just go with that.
okay, what is difference between Python and R?
Uh, the difference between Python and R,
Yeah.
we have discussed earlier, right, Suresh?
No, not
No,
about R.
no, not about that. Or only you have to say it about Python only. The
Okay.
same question I have to raise it. That's why I'm waiting.
Okay. Like what's the difference between R and Python?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why
So
you
yeah, why?
why you are not using R in data science?
We
Why
can use C
only
sharp
Python?
also.
Also, right?
Yeah, like you can use what do you say, many programming languages, guys. Like the reason we are using Python is Python is scalable. Like we talked about this earlier. Like if you use our programming language, if the data becomes huge, so in that case, R is not that much scalable. It can't handle huge amounts of data, while Python can, and Python has different modules. Yeah,
No,
so
I will
that's
add
the
one
No,
more
I
point
am
here.
not.
Python has
Has
inbuilt n number
inbuilt,
of libraries,
mm-hmm.
inbuilt
but
libraries, so that it can handle any. That is the one point I wanted to add. Libraries, it has inbuilt huge libraries.
Which one,
R
Suresh?
has, Python has
Mm-hmm.
inbuilt libraries,
Mm-hmm.
so that we are using Python mostly in market all over the industry.
Okay, and how is that different from what I've said?
R is, yeah, you are also right. I am
Mm-hmm.
just adding one point to this.
And that is,
R has less scope of using all over the data science.
yeah, why do we use R less than Suresh?
We have less
I
inbuilt libraries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, okay, I guess you're confusing with the terminology. Like, a module is nothing but a library. So in Python, we call
I
modules as libraries. Sorry, we call libraries as modules. Yeah,
What
so
is
we both were
difference?
saying the same thing.
Yeah. What is difference between data scientist and data science?
Data scientist and data science.
Yeah.
Do you think that's an appropriate question to ask, Suresh? Don't you think, like, what is data science and what is data scientist? So data scientist is one who practices data science.
No, I have no idea. That's what I asked. Because I have gone through
Okay.
because I got data
Okay.
scientist and data
Yeah, that's
science.
fine, Suresh. Like, I am comfortable and I am willing to solve your doubts. But if it's going to be an interrogative session, then I don't think it's appropriate kind of a thing. So yeah, that's fine. Yeah. And any more questions, Suresh?
No, boss, I don't know. I am just asking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine, Suresh. No, that's not an issue. Yeah. And any more doubts, Suresh, regarding what we've seen?
Yeah,
And
thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hi Lokesh.
yeah.
Do you
Please.
teach in real-time examples and workflow from them for us?
Yes, Rajshekar, do we teach real?
Real-time and workflow
Yeah,
experience.
yes, Rajshekar. Yeah, we will teach you in terms of real time. Like we will take real time examples too.
Okay. And I have to know that somebody ask you, right? How many years of experience in that? But
How
you
many?
are not saying that. But
Uh,
how you know you can teach our real-time experience and how we can learn from them? You
no, like see, like the how many years of experience I have now, that's confidential. Like you don't need to know how much I have, and if someone has to provide it, you can get it from the sales team. Like if they are willing you to do it, they have. But if I have to disclose it, since you guys are asking, I have around 3 years.
okay?
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah. Okay. Rajshekar. And yeah, guys. So that's it with this session. And thank you for your time. And yeah, you will be contacted by the sales team again, like doing the follow-ups and all. Yeah. So thank you, guys. And yeah, Raghu sir, I guess you can take over.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Lokesh.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Rakesh.
Yeah. Thank you.
So everyone, that's yeah. I have listened a few of your questions. I can answer a few of them. Like someone has questioned us, what is the difference between data scientist and data science? As a data scientist, he's someone sorry, I'm also I'm Raghu. I'm one of the data scientists, by the way. Okay, let me introduce myself. That I'm one of the data scientists, and also I also teach a few of the modules here. Hello. Hello.
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Yeah. So someone has questioned it. They're saying that what is the difference between data scientist and data science? Data science is just in terms of terminology, like it has machine learning, deep learning. Most of them using predictive kind of analytics with some sort of data through data analysis. But as a data scientist, he is a one who has to know complete understanding. As a data scientist, he should be having a complete understanding of deep learning networks as well, the advance of AI, the advance of NLP as well, which is a subset of the both machine learning and machine learning. And he has to have a good knowledge in terms of in terms of a development as well, because he then only he can be command over the technology, the complete technology. So it's like who's knowing someone like end to end.
Like algorithms.
Yeah, algorithms, flow, life cycle, the flow, integrations. Someone who can handle with his experience and expertise. The more. That's how because if you could see in the data science, some are good enough only till machine learning. Like they hardly working on the structured data. They might be working on the predictions, and that's it. But few of the applications of few of the data scientists who's both expert in machine learning and deep learning is called as a complete data scientist. A complete data scientist who also works on the extreme unstructured data as well, as with his experience and exposure.
In this course, what you are going to teach in this given?
See, as of now, I might also come into the picture when it is in the Python. When the Python module comes into the picture, like with the core concept and advanced concepts, as well as the data analysis perspective. What he has been gone through with the data analysis, NumPy, Pandas, data manipulations, Matplotlib. Yeah, that's where I might come into the picture.
Okay.
And we have another experienced person who's having more than 10 years of experience in terms of data. He's a statistician turned data scientist, in his lifetime. So he's also coming into the picture and delivering the most of statistics and machine learning part.
Can you teach us in-depth mathematics?
Yes, sir. Like I said, we have one of the faculty who is a statistician himself is coming, and he is helping us to teach in depth whatever you are saying. A statistician, a machine learning expert.
Hi, I have a question. So I don't have a lot of knowledge about statistics. So we'll be starting from the basics, right?
Yes. Yeah, Prithvi. See, don't worry about the stats. The name itself. We have the name itself. You some people might fear about it, but
Yes.
this is very very easy one. Trust me. We've been using the stats, from our school days. In terms of matrices, what is data, what kind of a data we have, what is a mean, median, mode, what is variance, standard deviation, the probabilities. So those concepts we have gone through in our life, but we don't know, like we never imagine, like how they are gonna help us in the real time in those days, right?
Correct,
but you
correct.
see the real impact of those school based science in our real time use cases. Like he was talking about the price prediction, right?
Correct.
He was talking about the area, he was talking about the price and a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the area, like if it's a small example, now I want to know what is the maximum area I have, what is the minimum area I have, what is the most area is covered with which area, how many square feet it is, what is the price of a square feet, on which sub areas in the city is having the most prices. No, in order to understand that, in order to identify the pattern, you have to know the stats behind it, the complete understanding. That's how the stats comes into the picture, and that's how inference statistics will help us to take the decision from the machine learning algorithms.
Okay.
That's how the stats is very easy. Trust me. All you have to do is a little bit practice. Just know what is what, and also try to don't worry in the data analysis part, especially we're gonna use it completely, the application part.
Okay.
Differential statistics will definitely help us in judging the algorithms. Like he was mentioning of SVM, KNN, linear regression, right?
Yeah.
So as a data scientist is someone who knows the algorithm, like one of the gentlemen was talking about the algorithms, right? As a data scientist, why he is called a data scientist. I was also telling that with his experience and exposure, he has to judge about the algorithms, right? So you have to know what is the behavior of the data, what kind of a data needs to, what kind of an algorithm is good enough to handle the better pattern out of it or better prediction out of it, and why. And why, they always question like how, why, when, how, something like that, all this who, why, how, when. So as a data scientist, if you can able to understand these algorithms, you can make this judgmental. You can be judgmental about the algorithms, and that's where stats is coming into the picture in order to make you that clarity, like judging that the results.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything more? Hello? Anyone else?
I'm cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's all for today, right?
Hello, last question.
Yeah, 1 second, Suresh. Ramakrishna, yes, that's it.
No, I was just understanding, is it concluded for today? Someone said that there is another question. So
no, yeah. That's it from, if someone has a question, or else we have concluded. Yeah, Suresh.
Can
Suresh,
I ask or not?
Yeah. Suresh, you can go ahead, please now.
Yeah. Last question is, what are the technologies or tools which I have to install on my system if we are going ahead?
Yeah. Don't worry about that. The Anaconda is a software that once the Python model is getting started, then we ask you to upfront, we'll be asking you to download. We'll be giving all the links and methodology to make it download, or we'll help you out to do it. Don't worry about that. Only one thing, which is Anaconda, which is open source software. You can install it irrespective of the OS, whether it's a Windows or whether it is in a Mac or something. It is downloadable.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, anyone else has any doubt? So, okay, then our sales team will reaching out. Thank you so much for being a part of this session. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all.